Morning guys, welcome back again to Marko Kustoms. So I got some, ordered some exhaust studs, well picked some exhaust studs up this morning and a few other bits and pieces. I actually grabbed some bolts that I thought were the right size for those little clamps for fuel oil and stuff, but I've got frickin', I got 5/16, I probably should have got quarter or something, but it's all good. I'll sort that out, probably at lunchtime or something like that. That's all good. I'll use them anyway. I'll just get some more. So yeah, I've got some right studs and nuts for this thing, so we're not using this sort of stuff. So hopefully these will be right, and this will make it easier to put the flange on there anyway. One in there. Good. I might shorten them up a wee bit. Probably a little long. So then I might have a look at that cowl vent piece too in a minute. And we'll have a quick look at that, see if that's stuck down, and trim that up. I'll get wind these studs in here anyway. And then I'll see if my flange fits over this after I drilled it out yesterday, but I haven't gone any further with that. So I'll have a quick look at that now, see if that will fit over. I haven't greased it up or anything, but I drilled a hole there. Let's see if this fits now. I'll open these holes out, so we should be closer anyway. And we're still probably half a hole out. Well, yeah, we'd be close, wouldn't be quite half a hole, but almost. So I'll get the die grinder out and we'll open these out a bit more towards the centre, so it's got a little bit of play, and then we'll have to do something with this edge so we can roll that exhaust tube around it. So I might open this up, get this fitting, and then we'll have a look at the cowl vent piece. Righty, so I've got this flange sorted now. I've got those pieces rigged out because it's very tapered here. I took a wee bit of mucking around to get it opened up enough to get right up, and I just rounded the edge off with the die grinder, and then went around it with the Rolex and just cleaned that sort of rolled edge up. Hopefully it's enough. If not, I'll do it some more, if you know what I mean. But what I want to do now is I've got that exhaust bracket, which I think's the right one. I'm going to climb underneath the car and just see if that fits on. There's a bracket there I know when I was underneath that the other day. I could see where it was hanging off. So I'm going to climb underneath the car and just see if that's the right thing. I'm pretty sure it is. And just see where it sits. Just in case I need to make something else to attach to it, if you know what I mean. But I think it just clamps straight to the body, or straight to the chassis, because everything's rigid mounted, if you know what I mean. This doesn't, the motor's rigid mounted, so it doesn't really move. So I'll see if that fits where I think it fits, and then we might undo all the crap off here and just slip that tube up underneath and poke that up through. I'll just rest on jack or a couple of blocks of wood or something like that, or if I can get a couple of bolts to fit through that and where I think it goes and it looks a bit right, I might just slip it into that and then just quickly do up a couple of nuts so it's poking up in the right place, and see if it's going to work, see if we're at the right angle and all that sort of stuff, just in case we need to do maybe do a little bit of gentle heating and just tweak that, make sure we're not got any weird angles and exhausts or anything like that. So we'll start doing that. I untaped this before and it looks like it's working good. At some point I will trim the bottom excess off, and then we will see if it'll fit in the hole, basically. So yeah, and we'll give it a wee bit more of a dress up and whatever, but yeah, I think that's holding good. We're just going to trim away the bottom part of it that I don't need, and yeah, put it in and make it work. So where's the other piece I trimmed up? Where was that bit? I don't know, it was floating around here still the other day. Need a frickin' too many little jobs going at once. So that's the original bit. This is a piece that I shaved off here the other day. So it needs to only be about that deep. So it sort of shows what I've got to sort of, the thick of what I've got to trim, try and trim away. So we're going to cut, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch or thereabouts off the bottom of it. Go around and slice it off, and I might even run around with the Rolex and just bevel it into this a little bit. And as I said, if I have to take the rubber off and just mist a little bit more paint on there, I will. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge. So we'll get there. So yeah, I think I'll probably muck around with that in the exhaust a bit more today, see if I can get that at least in there and tacked up, and if I can get it welded up. I'm not sure where it hangs through at the back. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, we'll see. I can soon make an extra couple of those hoop brackets that hang on somewhere at some point. But yeah, have a quick look underneath, see if that fits where I think it is, see if it looks like the tube will run through without clipping anything when it's through it, and we'll go from there, and then we can sort of set ourselves up and get ourselves sorted, if you know what I mean. Righty, so that clamp was the dead right thing, so that's cool. So poke this up here, and it's definitely too short, and it's not quite the right angle, and obviously where it comes up through here, it obviously needs to be a little bit further forward, and then it actually needs to come up and then slightly over to pick up on this, to keep it reasonably central down the bottom, if you know what I mean. Because if I move it too far this way to poke there, it will catch on the spring. And I've tried to get it reasonably, look where it looks like it's in a nice position and looks reasonably level within the underneath the chassis. You know, it's not too high at the front or too low, or you know, because where that bracket bolts on, it bolts direct to the chassis with the loop. So yeah, then it's not also, because the tube almost comes back to the diff here, so it's not hanging down too far below the chassis or poking way up here high or anything silly. It's sitting fairly nice and level through there with that block of wood, with those couple of blocks of wood underneath it. I just trimmed about 1/2 inch off that piece of block of wood that's just poking up, just to get it about where I was happy with how it sat, with being in that bracket. So that's cool. Yeah, so I need to, I think what I'll do is I'll probably chop this piece off down here about where the bend is, but I think I might just relax that bend a little bit, and I might just warm it up with the gas and just pull it forward a couple of degrees, and then cut that piece off, and probably use one of these other shorter bits, probably that bit, I think. I think this piece here will be too short. I'll try and leave that piece alone. I don't even think I need that piece. By the time I cut a piece off underneath there for that, and a couple of the U-bends and these pieces, and maybe that other section, I should have plenty, you know, and not have many joins in it. I'd like to have a slip joint somewhere, probably about the diff, but I don't know. I may be able to work it through one of these, if you know what I mean. I haven't got a clamp, but I could probably put a split in here We'll just put a clamp on there, one of these, so we can get it off and have a nice place for a join. Actually wish you got it straight through, but, well, not so much straight through, but you know, where the pipes were the same stagger. But, oh, I'll just work with what I got. Doesn't matter much. Yeah, that's too short. So I'll have to use that other piece, and we'll make up a piece for here to come up to here. There is a couple of places in town where I could probably just go somewhere and just get a wee tweak in that. Just put a wee gentle bend in it. Or that I can just heat it here and just put a wee gentle bend in it to get it from sort of about this position. When I cut it off, I can always put a little kink in it, lean it in, and then we have to, yeah, like I said, lean it that way slightly and bring it forward, and then try and have to kink it into here somehow, just with a couple of little tweaks. And then we'll get it all tacked together, and I can drop that front piece off, weld that all up, hammer that edge over in the flange, obviously when I know I've got it fitting, and then we can sort that out, and then I can work out where I'm going to put the muffler, which will be behind that bracket. In here. The bracket's here, just underneath this front seat, so we'll put the muffler back in here somewhere. We'll cut a piece off, work it out. We'll probably cut a piece off here before we go up over the diff, with those U-bends. Yeah, and then we just got to poke a tyre pipe up. We might need a little piece of that, not much, but I think we'll get most of it, you know, by the time we chop a piece off here and whatever, and the bits on there, you know, the U-bends, and I can poke the long bits back out towards the front and back, and we'll get a little bit extra length, if you know what I mean. But yeah, we'll work around. I think that'll work quite good. It's nice clearance in there. I can get my hand in there. Got it solid mounted here. You know, I can put it on in the inside or the outside, I think, but I think on the inside is about where it should be. Otherwise we'll end up too close to here. Now we've got good finger width in there. So yeah, just made a little bit of tweaking in here and there, and I think we'll be pretty good. Righty, so I got it here in the vise. I've roughly been up this bit of brazing wire to where I sort of kind of need it to be. It needs to be more sort of that angle, if you know what I mean. And it's roughly sort of pointing where the front edge of the tube kind of needs to be. So it needs to hang forward and then point in a little bit. It's not really a long way away, except that it's a bit short, and that's up here somewhere. So this needs to come forward, and then we'll have to cut it off in here. You know, I can twist it a little bit this way to get the rough angle. It sort of needs to lean in a wee bit. Alright, so we've got that angle there about spot on now. So now we need to, I'm not going to do it on here, I'm going to do it on another piece of tube. So I'm probably going to cut this off down about here, so we're just after the bend. So we'll bring it up about, I don't know, probably a good 2 inches roughly, and I'll tweak it in for a start off, and we'll get the other piece of pipe to lean in, and then we'll come up to here, and then we'll put another wee tweak in it. We might Might have really needed to maybe get that to lean over, but I can, when I join it in, I can probably just put a slight bevel on it. But you have to lean it in and then tweak it straight again, about here somewhere, to just bring it in so it's coming in reasonably straight on that flange. Alrighty guys, so I gave up trying to heat the pipe. I don't like the way it was bending. I'd rather just weld it and dress the piece of pipe up really nicely. And I'll have a 240 or 400 rather than finish to make it nice and clean and smooth again. So I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm just going to put this piece of pipe back in here. Right, I think I'm pretty close now. With this stuff. So what I might do is just put it in the vise, hold a bit of tension on, tack that, hold a bit more tension on, tack that, just so I can get them to close right up. And then do the same with here. We'll do another wee test fit, and then we'll work out where we need to cut the top part off, and so we can get the other sleeve over, or the flange over, and then we can hammer the edge out. Or, well, get ready to hammer the edge out, and we can dress this all up and weld that up, and then grind it all down nicely, if you know what I mean. And yeah, I'll try and DA it in so it looks, so it doesn't look like it's been, you know, lots of welding up, if you know what I mean. Test that, chop it off, and then we can clean it up, and hopefully partly weld that up. I think maybe just tack it in a few spots all the way around so it won't move, and then we can get it located on the other bit of pipe and tack that on a couple of spots on the car once we've got it trimmed off. Righty, so I think I got that pretty much spot on. Like, I think that's pretty central in that freaking hole. Like, you know, it's almost, you know, probably going this way a little bit, but it's not, doesn't really matter. But we'll have a good join around here, there's no gaps. And down here, that's sitting in there pretty nice too, you know. So by the time we get that flange up there and we just feather that edge over a little bit to put onto there to help seal it, and whatever, I think by the time we get that all welded up, that'd be pretty goddamn nice and cleaned it all up. So I'm pretty happy with that. That was definitely a lot easier than trying to muck around heating it and bending it and everything. It'll be a pretty nice little transition. And by the time I've welded that up and cleaned it up, that'll be beautiful. Alrighty, so that still fits really nice. So I'll drag the welder over here, plug her in. We'll try and get a couple of 3 tacks on that bottom pipe. Right, I'll start welding it on. Unfortunately that fell off, but we can deal with that later. We'll get it stitched on. Righty. Let's see. I'm going to make this split. I'm not quite sure yet. Well, we want this. Probably want it somewhere about here, I would think. So, what I've got going on here, apart from that air leaking, I've set the pipe up in a couple of boxes and whatever, but I poked this through just a bit and then I started hammering it over, and I've sort of hammered it fairly flat. And then, yeah, so I'm going to just file it so it's fairly flat. So hopefully when the gasket comes up against it, I'm only doing this because over the years, just with pulling cars apart, this is kind of what you see, I guess. You know, like I don't know from experience building exhausts, but I go from what I see and what I know, you know, from pulling cars apart, like in the 80s as a kid, basically, you know, and onwards. Hoping is when this pulls up tight, yeah, that seal there pulls up and crosses up and gets nicely against that piece, and we get a really good, nice, clean, tight seal. So yeah, I'll just file this off a bit flatter and I'll deburr it a little bit with the roll locks and whatever, and that should be good. I've cut the piece of pipe off ready for the muffler, so we'll slip that on there in a minute. But give us a quick, we finished dressing up, and yeah, we'll bolt this back on, test fit the muffler, and see where we're going from there. That's nice and clean. No sharp edges, so basically the exhaust should flow down that pretty nice. Not that it matters for this old girl, but you know what I mean. Get off that. Yep, get as much horsepower to the poor old girl as possible. Alrighty guys, and girls and whoever else is watching. Aliens from Mars, whatever. So I'm getting closer here. This is sort of fiddly, I can see what it takes a while. Now it will take a bit of practice to get this shit right. Anyway, I'll put the piece back in the bottom of the seat, the tray. So
working out what I got to do here exactly. I think what I'm going to have to do with this U-beam here is cut it and twist this part of it this way, because that muffler's offset. Would have been nice if it was one of those just those big round ones, you know, with just the pipe in the centre. But you know, there's not much I can do about that. So you'll have to cut this, twist it, and then I've got this piece down here which is just wide at the moment, and then we'll bring it in about here somewhere, just so it's sort of straight out the back and looking right. So it's kind of what we need to do now. It's about where I'm at the moment, if you know what I mean. Pull this out of here, and we'll cut this in half, and probably end up chopping, you know, a similar amount off here, off this one is what we did here, possibly. Something similar anyway. Well, I'm back after the exhaust is all mocked up. So I've got it all bits and pieces taped together, but it's basically the muffler's slipped on that front pipe, and the front pipe's basically ready to go. But I think, I don't know, now that I've welded it and built that flange, I might, just because it's close here, so I may put a slice in here and just tweak that pipe across at the bottom. So I'll put a mark on this so I remind myself in the morning. We'll cut it there almost the way through and just slip that bottom bit round. Now, because when I bent that flange over, it's just a little tight. Right, morning guys, so welcome back again. So we'll get into this exhaust, get that buttoned up, hopefully, this morning. Should be able to get it done in the next 3 or 4 hours, I should imagine. Like, it shouldn't take me that long, but it's a bit of mucking around when you got to lie down underneath the vehicle and fish stuff through and fish it back out again. And yeah, 2 post hoists or 4 post hoists would be really nice for doing this sort of stuff, because you can just get in there and sit there and put a bit of tape around it and walk back out instead of crawling out and crawling back in. But anyway, so yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll get that back part tacked together in a couple of different stages, make sure I'm happy with how it sits, and then before I fully weld it, I'm going to fix that front piece with that wee tweak so it clears that spring a little bit. It's you probably can't quite get your finger in there. It just, when I flared that flange over at the top, when you pull it up now, it's just wants to rock out a little bit. So we'll just slice that and just relieve it. Just pull it around like I did with the other pieces, right near the bottom, and that'll just kick it over. You know, I'll probably better get, you know, a good finger width or something in there. Motor's solid mounted, so it's not rocking around. So it should be fine at that point, I think. You know, that'll just give it an extra, maybe ½ an inch of clearance by the time, you know, if we kick it over at that pan level, you know, the exhaust hangs down about that far, so by the time you kick that over, it's going to be, I don't know, half-ish an inch, I suppose, 3/8 of an inch, 10 mil. It'll give it that much more clearance down there, so I think we'll do that. But, you know, I'll tap that together, get it sitting in there, make sure I'm happy, and then we'll kick that over. So yeah, we'll do that. Right, we've got the first piece ready to put 3 or 4 tacks around, I guess, and then I'll shift this in the vise and we'll pull the next piece off. I'm going to pull them off individually so I don't happen to mix. Not that they're hard to not mix them up, if you know, but not getting turned round or confused. So flick this on, we'll get a few tacks on there and then we can put it back in. Right, we'll go test this. Righty, so I tacked these together and then I've actually just realised when I put it underneath the car that this here should have been straight with that. I didn't really, I kind of lined the marks up, but I think just with the tape being on there, look, it was a good ballpark, but yeah, just obviously there was a bit much flex in it, and I could get it to manipulate where I wanted it to. But yeah, we need to straighten it up. Put it around. Righty, so I'm pretty happy with where we're at now. So I put this piece of angle iron in the vise so I can weld this extra piece of pipe to the piece that goes over the diff, and then I can get it nice and flat and straight. I could have just put the two pieces in the vise and got it fairly right, but at least in a piece of angle iron, it's real handy for welding bits of tube or bits of pipe together, especially if you happen to be short a piece, and you're making something up and you've got a couple of pieces, a couple of scraps together you can join together to make something. Well, it's not something critical structure or whatever, but but the piece of exhaust like this, we need an extra little piece at the back. We can just come along here and weld it up. One side and then turn it over and do the other, if you know what I mean. I'll put a few tacks in it, and then at least then I know it's not going to move. But yeah, I can put it in here, I can put another clamp on here just to make sure it doesn't pull, which I might do. Have another clamp on. I'm thinking about it. And we can put some decent welds in there and know that this shouldn't go anywhere, if you know what I mean. Nice even join. You don't even need that. So yeah, we can weld that up now and have no issues, and then we'll at least get that joined on, we can go ahead and weld all this up. Right, so that's the back piece all welded up and cleaned up. Whatever, I've actually DO'd and sanded this piece just to get it nice and clean, and I might just wipe it down with a bit of light oil or something like that, just a bit of WE-40 or whatever, just so it doesn't rust in the meantime. So I've tried to clean out the welds the best I could to try and smooth it out, to a reasonable standard, I suppose. I just want to, I could just, you could have just left the welds the way they were, just knocked the worst of the high ones off type thing. But I want to try and, improve my skills to get to the point where one day I can make it look like it's, obviously a TIG weld would be way better, but if I can improve my skills and so when I join a piece of exhaust pipe together, that it looks fairly seamless. I don't think that's too bad when you're actually really polished up and clean it up. Now I could probably file that, I could probably panel file that and blend it in, and probably not many people would know that that's been joined there, without getting right underneath the car and having a look. But that's the things I want to try and improve my skills, so when I do make an exhaust system for something, or make a set of headers for something, at some point, you know, I know that I can do it and have a reasonably nice looking job, you know, and I can clean it up, finish it, and, you know, sand it if I need to get quite a nice result. So if you don't try and practice, well, you know, you're never going to get any better. So, you know, were those welds okay? Yeah, they were fine, you know, and I could have left them. You know, there was the odd ugly piece, but, you know, you don't get any better at welding exhaust pipe or whatever you're doing unless you keep trying to improve yourself and make it look better. You know, I'd like to have, you know, make an exhaust pipe where it never looked like it was joined anywhere, you know, at some point, if you know what I mean. But yeah, you know, you can only improve if you try. So we'll throw this on there. We'll get that lined up to where I think it needs to be, and just make sure I'm happy with that. There's a little bit of wiggle room with the muffler and stuff like that, so we're not hard locked into full position. Obviously, going to have to make a clamp to go in here somewhere. I don't think there's one around. Pretty sure there's not one on the back of that car that I can pinch or borrow, so I'll just make something. And but yeah, we'll get that front bit of pipe tweaked now. But we will put this on there, make sure I'm happy, and yeah, we'll go from there. Right, I'm pretty happy with that. It's coming out fairly level, you know, like I said, we've got a little bit of wiggle with the muffler yet to just dial and everything I'm not happy with. That looks good. You know, we've got good clearance around everything. You know, we've got a little bit of forward and aft on the, you know, with the clamp yet, but I think it's coming out reasonably straight. Like, I can't get back too far, but that looks like it's coming out reasonably straight to me. It's not all cockeyed and weird angles or anything like that. So yeah, we're just going to make a bracket for there, but that's cool. So I think we will pull the front pipe, undo that, pull the front pipe out, and just do that final tweak there. And then, yeah, we can weld those slips into the muffler, and then we'll cut the other pieces so we can put some clamps around them. We'll just get some of those U-clamps or something like that, so they can be taken on and off if they need to be at some point. Okay, so you're not fighting a whole exhaust system. You know, you probably could get it out if you really wanted to, because it would drop down far enough. But you got to try and drop it down and then feed it out through the bottom and twist it around. You could do it in one hit, but you know, it's a lot nicer if you can do it in a couple of sections. You know, and if you ever had to replace the muffler, you only got to undo those two clamps, pull that off, and replace the muffler. If you know what I mean, you don't even have to cut it off or anything like that, unless it won't come off with rust or something stupid. But I think it should be fine. So that's cool. I'm pretty happy with that. Right, so I'm happy with this down here. We've got about a good finger width of clearance. You know, we can probably tweak a little bit at the back if we have to, just to get it over a wee bit. But I've noticed that when I pull this up tight, or start pulling up tight, it's sitting high here. So this is hitting the exhaust manifold first, then the sides. So I've just blocked this up a little bit more at the back, so I can just hammer a bit more of this over, so we can get it to come up a little bit more flatter. I just don't want it to leak, obviously. So yeah, this is about, I think, about what it is. So we'll just hammer that over a bit more. So it's so this is down on that flange. So yeah, I just got it locked in the vise there, and we'll just hammer it down, and we'll go from there, and we'll have just another wee test fit, just make sure that's fine. So it pulls up nicely and even. So yeah, because it wants to touch here first, and there's a bit of a gap here, and you got to do it up really. You got to pull it hard up, and because it's in that bracket underneath, it doesn't want to tilt. So yeah, just needs a bit more hammering over here. So we'll do that, and we'll come back to you. Right, so done that. So hopefully now, just that little bit extra material pushed over there, it should be good. Again, once I got it down flat, I just run over the file and just filed it from all directions, just to
knock any high spots off, just so hopefully we get a better seal, you know, don't have any issues. So we'll try that. Yeah, it's way better. I've only done that hand tight, so let's pull it up a little bit with the spinner, or a wrench, or whatever you want to call it. Here's me frickin' ring spinner. Probably on the floor somewhere. Yeah, there it is. It's like awkward trying to do this and hold your hand, hold the phone at the same time. Yeah, it's way better, way better. Awesome. Hopefully that don't leak. Worst comes to worst, we'll just get a slightly thicker gasket. I get one of those, sometimes you get those nice big heavy ones, but I think that should be pretty good. We'll find out, I guess. You know, we can always put a little, as I said, put a little bit of manifold seal around there too, if we have to, but I'm pretty fucking happy with that now. So here we got, it's not a huge amount of clearance, but now it's, you know, I can get my hand in there, well, you know what I mean, I get fingers through there, so. Not by much, but it wasn't touching before, but it was almost, if you know what I mean. So I think we'll just do a let's have another wee look here in the back. This is almost lunchtime, it's not quite. So I've got everything almost done, if you know what I mean, apart from welding up the you know, the muffler and stuff like that. You know, it's only just resting there now. I thought I had it in, but obviously it fell back out. So anyway, yeah, all we're going to do now is weld those pieces into the muffler, or tack weld them in or whatever, and yeah, put some clamps in there. Right, so it's been a while since I've done an update. Still sticking down the exhaust. So I just made that bracket go around the tailpipe. And from what I could see on a few photos, they all seem to hang off that tank bolt on this side. And they got like just a twisted metal strap with a donut around it with a bolt in it. So that's what I made. I think that looks good. You know, it looks like everything else that I've seen, so yeah, I've just done it up snuggish, just to make sure I was happy. I think that's pretty good. Just have we sit down here, get a bit lower. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. The only thing I am going to do is I'm going to weld a wee strap to the front of the muffler. Just up from it where that brake rod thing goes through. There's a couple of bolt holes up there, and I might make just a wee strap to go, because the exhaust's pretty much rigid mounted, because the motor's rigid mounted, so that's fairly rigid. There's no rubber on it, but I'm just going to, yeah, where that brake rod stuff goes through the chassis, there's a couple of bolt holes in there, and it's pretty much that's right above the front of that muffler. So I think what I might do is just tack a strap on top and bottom, the same piece of stuff that I've just used that out of, which I cut off that plate, and I'll work out where it needs to go up to. I'll have to put just a little kink in it, or just a little, you know, and whether I put one bolt in it or 2 bolts in it, I don't know, but I'll weld it top and bottom, just so it doesn't break off. Now, if I weld it on the top, it could pull that better weld off, so if I weld it top and bottom. So yeah, because I've got those, I've made a couple of clamps to go up there, just out of some exhaust tubing. I probably could have made it out of that same bit of stuff I cut off there, but I made it out of some exhaust tubing. If it doesn't end up being strong enough, I'll remake them, or buy something. I just made a couple of basically the same sort of thing as that. Just goes around and clamps with one bolt. And it seems to be pretty firm, but if you really tug on it, you can twist it. So that's partly why I'm going to put that strap there, but it's handy. So that'll give it 3 or 4 mounting points is there. The one that's midship, which is about 1.5 foot in front of that muffler. I've had one on the muffler and the one back there. I think it'll be fine for being rigid mounted. So yeah, I think if the engine was rubber mounted, you'd probably have it all rubber mounted, but it seems to be rigid mounted, so I don't think it's going to hurt anything. It's rigid. Motor can't move when it's bolted down, so in theory the exhaust isn't going to move. It's just going to flex with the car. Yeah, you can see why they probably rubber mounted things years later, but if it was originally rigid mounted, well, it's, fucking for all the driving it's going to do, it's not going to hurt that it's rigid mounted. So, but yeah, we'll just put one strap on the front, I think. Probably another one on the back would be fine, but I just don't know if it's in the right place to hook it up anywhere easy. You know what I mean? Without welding something to the chassis or fucking something, but I can just put a bolt up in there. That's really handy, so I'll do that. Alrighty, so hopefully you can see there. So there's a couple of bolt holes up there. I thought they're, so yeah, I think I'll just put one bolt through there and just weld the strap top and bottom on there. Paint it silver and just cut it off. So yeah, I'll just mark on this bit of plate where it needs to be attached to the muffler, and we'll do that and drill a hole up there and be done with it, I think. That should be pretty simple. Right, so I've given this a couple of light dustings of that silver. Just stop the joins and wherever I've ground and whatever rusting. It should be fine. I don't think it'll ever burn off down the back, maybe. Who knows? Stop the welds from here freaking going crazy. I've dusted them, those clamps I made. A little bit of silver as well. And the back one, right at the back, I've just given that a good hit with some black. Might just wait another couple of minutes to just give it another wee hit, but yeah, it should be good. So yeah, basically it's all ready to bolt up. Basically the front piece is all bolted up properly, apart from running it and obviously just double checking to make sure I haven't got any little pinholes, leaks, or that isn't leaking. We should be good, I think. Should be good. I didn't quite expect it to take me 2 days to make an exhaust, but it did. I suppose.
Right, morning guys. On the new beast. I haven't got my other phone here because typical. We haven't ordered Rachel's new phone yet, so she's got my old one until we order a new one, which will be in the next couple of days or week or whatever. Yeah, because her phone is the screen is fucked. It's been pretty buggered for a while, but it's really bad, to be honest. I'll get the side tripod set up properly. Yeah, righty, so welcome back to NZ Mopro at Kustoms again. So new phone, video from the new phone. This is front camera, obviously. So all that exhaust stuff's all ready to go, obviously. So I will bolt that all on quickly this morning because it's basically done. I don't think there's anything I need to do except for when we get it and run it and test it and make sure there's no major leaks anywhere, I guess. Pinholes in the exhaust. I think I've got the worst one of that, especially that front tube. I did trying to block it off and whatever, and I did try to do the same in the back one. Tried to block it off and just make sure it wasn't leaking anywhere. So I don't think there's any major leaks. We'll find out. Because I will check for that when we do, when it goes in to be checked over and vinned and all that sort of crap for the first time. Yeah. But I'll get that on, and then I think we'll tackle that tail vent and then I might put the rubber on there, and we'll go from there. I think we'll just see where it leads from there. I'm not really sure, but I don't know, it's probably 20 minutes, half an hour mucking around putting this exhaust on, I guess, if that, and then we'll go from there. Hopefully the quality is okay on this phone. Righty, so exhaust is all on. All good to go. All bolted up. And it's as solid as a rock, so hopefully it doesn't have any major issues. With it being rigid mounted like it is, but I think it should be fine. The motor's rigid mounted, so it can't flex around. It's solid, so exhaust shouldn't move. With it, you know, I can understand why they rubber mount them nowadays, but I think it should be fine. If we ever have any issues, you know, or if he has any issues, we can always change the mounts and put a bit of rubber in there somewhere, so it's rubber mounted. But yeah, this is the way it was. You know, that bracket that's around that midsection bolts direct to the chassis. That's how it is up on that one. The back hanger is not there on that one. It's come off at some stage, but I imagine that's how it was done originally. So, and by all the photos that I can see, it looks like that they're bolted direct to that tank bolt. So we'll go with that and see how it works, I guess. You know, can only try, eh? I wasn't around when they made them originally, so yeah, we will carry on. So yeah,